Welcome, everyone, to Michigan International Speedway, race 15 of 25 in the HTL Cup Series season here on ABN. A lot of work going into this, drivers having just one or two more chances at most to get into the HTL Cup playoffs. All of that begins here tonight. I'm Carmen, Sienna. We're glad you're with us here for what should be a very exciting race. Qualifying underway right now from Michigan International Speedway. Race 15 of 25. 3 races to go in the regular season. We got Michigan tonight. Next weekend, we've got the Brickyard 400. And then we have the finishing race of the regular season at Daytona in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be exciting going all the way through the rest of the regular season to figure out who's going to be in this chase field. This playoff grid is going to be wild. Qualifying underway, as we mentioned before we get into too awful much of the qualifying points as they run. It is Mark Kissenweather and John Hagen atop the board. Hagen locked in by a points already from last week's race. For those that remember Atlanta, Mark Kissenweather was close, but not close enough to get locked in last week. Now very well over the hump here today. He is in Cyan. Those marked in Cyan, locked in. They can't move out of the top 12, even if they tried. The conversation then moves down to the rest of those in the top 12. Caitlin Height, Josh Soucy, Eli Sasek, Shad Swatsworth, Josh Arnold, Kyle Taub, Josh Gaiman, David Smil Jr., Blake Henderson, who's moved up a couple spots, Tucker Sawyer, who's now on the cut line there. They're going to try to lock in their positions over the next 3 races. It's imperative that they do, because those just outside the top 12 are fighting for their lives. Jeremy Braille, Hunter Peach, Jonathan Adams, Bailey Thompson are currently in, but you notice that cut line between Thompson and Meredith, a very narrow 3 points. Willie Sharp just outside the cut line by 11. Dean Clavitt down the cut line as well with 253 points. Elias Flores on the outside looking in. Alfred Denny, Austin Mongold, Matthew Boone, Dustin Hall. Everyone trying to get into those final 4 spots. Those final 4 spots are wildcard spots for a reason. If someone in the top 30 in points wins tonight, next week at Indy, or the regular season finale at Daytona in 2 weeks, they jump in to those 4 green spots. They are not locked in by any means of the imagination. Those wildcard spots very much up for grabs. Bren Roberts, who is right now filling in for Steven Oberstadt in the number 8 machine, could theoretically get into the playoffs with that wildcard win he got last weekend in Atlanta. So keep an eye on that. That's a huge conversation point, is if someone grabs a win from this group, or the group I'm about to pull up here right now from 25th on to 30th, Patrick Oberstadt, who was fastest in practice. Steven Oberstadt now in the 38. We'll see that later on. Tyler Ratliff, Ross Baxter, who's missing. He had an emergency pop-up tonight. Dale Markowski, Zach Apperson. Things can change. And they very well might. But as I mentioned before, qualifying underway at the moment. Hunter Peach, one of those trying to lock in. As Trading Paints wants to give me fits. I'll follow along with him, though, in that default iRacing paint while everything loads up. Josh Gaiman fastest in qualifying so far. Tyler Ratliff and Alfred Denny in the top 3. Dale Markowski in 4th. Not a bad run for him. Patrick Oberstadt, remember, he's one of those that need a win to get in. Could get it here. He's got the pace. Dale Markowski also could really use a race win to get into the top 16. Right now focusing on the 20. Going into this race, Hunter Peach, 65 starts, 2 wins. 16 top 5s, 25 top 10s for Hunter Peach, whose lap time goes enough to go top of the board. Hunter Peach goes on pole. We have to see that as it happened live. Really good effort there. Remember, he has not scored a pole position in his HTL career. That could change tonight. That's a huge swing in position if it sticks. Josh Susi on the racetrack now as well. His Gibney Racing Division Chevrolet. What can he do? Can he get to the front of the field? Cross start finish line, and that number 81 Chevrolet front row, not enough for pole. So Hunter Peach right now secure at the front of the field, just now beginning a lap. Jonathan Adams trying to put in work. But already some heavy work beginning in this field. It has been fast and heavy in qualifying. Hunter Peach looking for his first career pole position in the series. And Jonathan Adams goes top of the board and jumps at Hunter Peach. So Jonathan Adams also without a pole position in his 21 starts, looking to change that statistic. But here comes some of the heavy hitters. John Hagan beginning his lap now, the points leader going into this race, and Jonathan Adams' teammate for Ascent Racing. Looking for his 11th career pole in 35 starts. Mark Kissenweather taking it a little bit easier. Qualified this race provisionally 23rd near the back of the field. Hagan coming across the line. Let's see what he can do. Is it enough for pole position? No, it is not. Only fifth fastest for our points leader. Dustin Hall, the number one for Unforgiven Motorsports. The Utah native on his 63rd start with 14 career pole positions, 7 wins, a 50% top 10 average finish rate, 62 starts previous to today, 32 top 10s, 21 top 5s. He has not had the season to remember this season. On his lap now to see what he can do. For those watching at home, please let me know if there's any audio issues. We're still figuring out the audio gremlins with our new microphone system in place. So if things are bad, please let us know in the comments or in the live chat. Unfortunately, I cannot hear myself talk. Dustin Hall, across the line. The number one goes P1. Dustin Hall goes top of the chart. Looking for career pole number 15. And he just might get it. Here comes Austin Mongold to finish his lap. He's got a pole position as well from Charlotte. Mongold across the line. His lap will not count. Tag the wall on his last lap. Elias Flores. He's got several teammates in the top 10. How about now? Can the San Fran native get to the top 5? He does! Jumps ahead of Gaiman and Hagan. Elias Flores, his best career start in an oval, goes top 5. Wild stuff there for Elias Flores. Mongold goes 20th, so his lap came in delayed. And qualifying finishes with a bit of a surprise from Elias Flores, who ends up top of the board. we now have warm-up underway. And with that, we'll take a chance to step aside for a moment with a word from HTL Cup Series race sponsor, Team Conti Sun Performance. If you need assistance with driver development, coaching, or just finding the right setups for the Cup Series, the Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and more, Team Conti Sun Performance is where you're going to want to go. Check it out. The games begin here in Michigan. It'll be a fun time watching this field roll around. Warm-up underway. Giving everyone one last opportunity to practice everything they need to. Pit entries, among other things, to get ready for this race. It will be a wild time from Michigan International Speedway. Upcoming races, we went over a little bit before. The BFL 400 at the Brickyard next Monday, 8:15 p.m. from Indianapolis. As the car goes up in the fence. And Anderson's going to go for a little bit of a spin as well. The number 25 machine. Decked out in chrome. The Coulter's Cards 400 at Daytona will round out the regular season. We have an off week for Memorial Day. And then we have the Southern 500 at Darlington to kick off the playoffs before we go to Watkins Glen on June 9th. A little information about the racetrack we're at right now, Michigan International Speedway. 2 miles is a lap here around Michigan. For those very familiar with the APN Champ Car World Series, you'll know this track very well. 18 degrees of banking in all 4 corners of the racetrack. Allows for some pretty high speeds. We've seen the yesteryear cars to be able to get to 214 miles an hour. These cars not to that level, getting to about 203 miles an hour. With the extra downforce, the extra drag and weight in these Gen 7 machines, slowing them down just a little bit. Variety of different winners in this race. Dylan McDonald winning back in Season 2. Season 3, Caitlin Height, 2-time winner here at Michigan. Josh Susie winning in Season 4. So in one of the surefire races, Caitlin Height looking for success here. A chance for Caitlin Height, if things go well, to punch her ticket and lock herself into the HTL Cup playoffs in contention for a HTL Championship for a 4th consecutive time. That's the goal. Stage is very simple. Unlike what we saw at Atlanta a week ago, there are no stage breaks here at Michigan International Speedway. So stage points will be awarded at the end of lap 30 and lap 70. Unless a caution comes out for a crash, though, we will not see a stoppage for those stages. Pit speed among the fastest in the series, 55 miles an hour. One of the only tracks faster we go to next week. Indianapolis has a 60 mile an hour speed limit. For these cars, still coming down from about 203 miles an hour to 55 will be a challenge. Fuel mileage, they can easily get to the end of stage 1. 34 to 38 laps is the pit window here at Michigan. And as I mentioned, caution's only coming out for accidents here tonight. We're going to see a little bit of space, some breathing room as this race drags on into stage 2 and into stage 3, the second half of the race. Matthew Boone holds the race record at this racetrack, 38.576 in his championship season, season 2. Just an indication that speed isn't a be-all, end-all. Matthew Boon's never won at Michigan International Speedway. He'd love to change that, but that'll be hard to do today. So, as we move over from the warm-up now into the full-on race sequence here in Atlanta, let's go ahead and take a second to go over the starting grid here in just a moment. Give us a second to get everything loaded up here and ready to go, because it is a little bit all over the place for me. All right, so row one in this field. We unfortunately have issues with getting the paints loaded, but we'll go through it anyway. Dustin Hall and Jonathan Adams is your field going into this event, rounding out the front row there. Row two is Hunter Peach and Josh Susi as they line up in third and fourth on the grid. Elias Flores, best ever start on an oval, 5th place, alongside Josh Gaiman in that third row. Row 4, 7th and 8th is John Hagan and Tyler Ratliff. Row 5, rounding out your top 10, Alfred Denny. He needs a win. Kyle Taub, already top 12 in points, trying to stay that way. He starts 10th. Dale Markowski and Zach Apperson, they make up row number 6, just outside the top 10 here. Patrick Overstadt, also in need of a race win, alongside Caitlin Height, a 2-time winner here at Michigan, starts 14th to try to do so here tonight. Tucker Sawyer and Zach Meredith, row 8, 15th and 16th. Zach Meredith back on the racetrack in that 17 car. New father, as we heard talked about last week, had a really good run, but involved in a couple incidents late, took him out of contention. He'll try again here tonight. Jeremy Braille and Bailey Thompson in row 9, 17th and 18th on the grid. Shad Swatsworth and Austin Mongold, they will round out your top 20. Eli Sasick, his teammates are all top 10. He's not. He's starting 21st alongside Richard Odie. Blake Henderson and Lily Sharp in row number 12. They sit top 24 in this field. Riley Garcia driving for Seth Wanzing in the 24 once again. He starts alongside Militia Racing Club's Josh Arnold. Stephen Overstadt and Dean Clavin in row 14. Ahead of Hunter Whitlock and Callie Height, who sit in the top 30. Davis Field Jr. alongside Mark Kissenweather, top 32. James Wright and Bryn Roberts near the back of the field here of this 18-row field. They are in row 17. The last row of the field is made up by Matthew Boone and Angel Santiago. Yeah, apologies for the overlays not loading correctly here for us to be able to go over. And for some reason, it doesn't want to go away. Sticky keys, gotta love when we have just the slight technical issues here in the booth. But the cars look fantastic on the racetrack. That is an assurance there. Dustin Hall, 15th career pole position in the series, beating ahead of Jonathan Adams and Hunter Peach. Both of them were looking for their first in HTL competition. They'll have to wait a little bit longer. Indianapolis a week away. Dustin Hall nearly in must-win territory, 24th in points going into today. A race win will make him happy. He's been in this position before, though, and he's not been able to see the finish. Is today going to be different? It's time to buckle up and get ready for the HTL Michigan 400. 125 laps set to get us underway. Green flag flies. And away we go. We're racing in the Great Lakes State. On board, Kalen Height started this race 14, already up 3 spots in this race. Your defending winner of this event, bottom of the racetrack, trying to make her way forward. Battling as Flores has already dropped 4 spots as well. There's that orange Red Bull machine of Zach Apperson up the road. Kalen Height now dealing with Zach Meredith on the outside lane. Everyone fanning out early here. This is a car that loosens up early and then it tightens up later on in this race. Apologies, having to also overcome an illness here. But this is a track where this is a combination, these cars at this racetrack, where it gets a little loose, and you're seeing that a little bit from Bailey Thompson all over the racetrack in that Holiday Inn. Number 27. Everyone scrambled, everyone got away from it. That looked ugly. You see Bailey Thompson, all that time lost getting loose out of turn 2 has thrown them out to 35th place. Ugly place to be early on. 3 wide further on down the running order. Hagan, Peach, and the 33 of Josh Gaiman. Went 3 wide there. Kowtow trying to follow along as well, following the very outside lane. Trying to make magic happen. So is Zach Apperson, currently running well early on in this race. It is Dustin Hall, Josh Susie, Jonathan Adams, your top 3, as they are. Dustin Hall, back-to-back fastest laps. Clean Air will do that for you here at Michigan. Everyone else swimming through the dirty air in the draft to try to find their little piece of real estate. Coming around to complete lap 5 of 125. Apperson a little loose out of turn 4. Trying to keep his foot in it, will do so, and will not lose any positions in the process in night still. There's Apperson. Kalen Height stuck on the inside lane, beginning to slip backwards. Went as high as 11th, now down, battling to stay ahead of Patrick Overstat in 16th. Inside lane falling apart quickly. See Alfred Denny, that Heineken number 21 on the outside lane now. He also did a pretty decent amount of sliding. Dropped 10 spots in that machine. As former teammates Height and Swatsworth will duke it out side by side. This is now for the 17th spot early on. They have a little bit of separation until the second group, which is spearheaded right now by Callie Height and Matthew Boone. Boone up 10 spots. He's one of our biggest movers at the moment. Same with Eli Sasek, now up to 11th. Austin Mongold also up 10 spots. Both of them nose to tail. So some dodging and weaving, some shuffling and moving early on here at Michigan International Speedway. As Sasek now deals with both Jeremy Brault in the 74 and Zach Meredith in the 17. Starting lap number 8. Fanning out as the tires begin to wear and they lose some of that luster of the opening laps. This is where the ebb and flow begins. For those that have not watched the HTL Cup Series when it was on Sim Racing Media through the opening 13 races of the season, this is the ebb and flow that these non-plate track races do provide. These are the races where you do not see the plethora of cautions. There's just not enough opportunity for there to be enough cautions here. It takes a little bit of work to get that to happen. And we're going to see here's a lot of strategy play out, a lot of tire conservation. Some fuel conservation goes in as well. Can you get to that 38 lap mark? Can you go beyond 38 laps on a set of tires and fuel? What's the benefit? What's the drawback? All these teams having to evaluate that going into this race. Those that get it right are going to make out like bandits. Those that don't will see themselves struggle to make it up later on in this event. No stage breaks means that every mistake and every advantage matters a little bit more here on the racetrack. Sasek in the top 10, trying to stay there ahead of Jeremy Braille and Austin Mongold. Mongold and Braille, and good to point out, teammates for Sideswipe Racing. The 74 and the 29 on the same game plan at the moment, and it is very helpful. Kyle Taub shuffled to the inside lane. That is not the lane you want to be in early, being passed by Jonathan Adams and Josh Gaiman. Zach Apperson not far away either. 3 wide into turns 1 and 2. Apperson fans out as high as you can go. And that's not necessarily just because he doesn't like being behind Josh Gaiman. It's to get some more clean air to the nose of that Ford Mustang. Every amount of clean air you can get helps you out quite a bit here. That's why you see Gaiman now funneling to the inside of the racetrack. He's got the real estate to move up and down the racetrack at will. He'll go up the racetrack through 3 and 4 and keep all the momentum that he had at the entry. It is Dustin Hall on his own at the front of the field. 1 second clear of Susie and John Hagan. These two duking it out. Ascent Racing versus Gibney Racing Division, and it's right now the defending 2-time champion from Gibney Racing Division out in front of this battle. But not for long. Here comes John Hagan. Hagan in the second spot now. Gets ahead of Susie as they'll leapfrog. Car up near the fence. I was trying to see who that was. That I believe was the 95, Tucker Sawyer. Sawyer entered this race 12th in points, battling with satellite teammate 99 of Elias Flores. That is for the 15th spot. All 36 starters on the racetrack. James Wright had a technical issue, had to start from pit lane. But he's on the racetrack down in the 36th position, representing the ABN creative community. Driving the number 11 for Arrowhead Racing. Bailey Thompson in the 35th position, driving the number 27. Also on an island early on. A caution would help them out significantly. It would not help those further up the field who are still embroiled in battling at the moment. A good old cluster of cars here. Realistically speaking, looking at the numbers here, about 17, 18 cars in this group. Excuse me, I'm a bit misspoken on that one. A little bit more than 18 cars here. This is 24 cars in this group. Lily Pelletier Sharp, the number 19 for NFG Motorsports, rounding up the tail of the train, with Matthew Boone, Blake Henderson, Brent Roberts, and Callie Height leading this small 8-car group up the road. Matthew Boone and Blake Henderson trying to work together, teammates there, part of the Tombstone and Unforgiven Alliance. Matthew Boone actually a part of the full-on Tombstone Motorsport team, replacing Ryan Moutre from 2 seasons ago. Here comes the 62 of Dean Clavitt. He goes to the front of this group here at the moment. And again, they're just trying to crawl in on this gap. 1.7 seconds separates the two groups. Dustin Hall slowly being reeled in by John Hagan, who has gotten clear of Susie. Susie's hanging on to coattails at the moment. Also moving forward in this group, but Dustin Hall I think, not going to complain. Coming around to complete lap 16, he's led every lap so far to open up this stage. We're halfway through stage number 1. That ends on lap 30. We'll do a bit of a comparison as we go throughout the field here. His fastest lap early on, and it is the second fastest lap in the field. Dustin Hall, 181.28 miles an hour. Put that in seconds for you real quick. 39.733. His last time, though, almost a second slower already, so this tire's beginning to fall off just the slightest amount. John Hagen, fastest lap, 39.691. However, his times also have fallen off by nearly a second. It's been nearly universal to see what the fall-off looks like here, and it does not matter if you've had clean air or not. Hagen's done a lot of fighting, and it's not hindered his times any at all. But we'll see how that cliff continues to evolve as this run goes on. Josh Susie, 39.771. Also 9/10 down on that fastest lap as Hagen goes for the race lead. Hunter Peach down a full second, 39.6 to 40.6. Make that 40.5 in the slipstream for a full lap. Dustin Hall still leads to start lap 19. Jonathan Adams, not nearly as much fall off, did not get the peak lap time there, 39.761. He's still running 40.3s, and he's been in the drafts, he's been in battles the entire race so far. So Jonathan Adams finding a way to keep up the lap times here that no one else has. Tyler Ratliff, 8/10 down from 39.7 to 40.5. He's battling alongside Josh Gaiman, also down right now 8/10. Make that 9/10. Zach Apperson, 39.7 to 40.6, 9/10. But you're seeing the trend as we highlight that throughout this field. Everyone already about a second slower from where they were at the start of this race. Lap 3 to lap 19. Already lost a second. We're expecting another about half a second to a full second of drop off here. So these cars will drop down to 41-second lap times as these tires wear when we get into the end of the pit cycle, lap 34 to 38. Hall being side drafted there by Hagen, but still led that lap, and they're going to be side by side still at the front of the field. And inside lane just not prevailing for John Hagen right now. Reason why side draft a huge factor, and it's a lot easier to side draft on that right side where Dustin Hall is located at the moment than what it is if you're on the left side like where Hagen is. But Hagen will drive his way through turns 3 and 4 and take over the race lead for the first time in Michigan 400. We have a race lead change, and it's now the points leader John Hagen out front, his teammate John Adams, and arguably the fastest driver on the racetrack right now, up to second. Look at another charge forward. That's Zach Meredith and Tyler Ratliff moving forward into the top 5. So a lot of these drivers that saved tire early, putting them to the test right now. And now's the time to use it because you've got the stage coming up here. Precious stage points coming up at the end of lap 30. Again, no caution for that, so you just got to race through it. But everyone putting that to the test. Adams tags the wall, as does Peach. But those that save tires versus those that used them early, ebbing and flowing now at the front. Everyone stacked up there behind Dustin Hall and Jonathan Adams. Bit of a tag of the wall there. Another tag of the wall by Ratliff behind Caitlin Height. Need to be careful. You don't get away with too many of those. And you see the damage on that right side, the buckling of the body panels on the right side of the hood of that car. That will have an effect on performance as this run goes along. That was still where he started this race. He is net positive, or sorry, net even in this, but not for long, because here comes Patrick Overstap. And tags the wall again. Losing time to Patrick Overstap and to Kyle Taub, who's trying to get around him as well. Great camera angle going down the front straightaway. Completing lap 24 of 125 in this race. You can hear just in the ambient camera microphone how much they're letting off going into turn 1 and into turn 3. It is significant. We are now a fifth of the way through, 20% done with Michigan 400. It's been green flag every lap so far. That's a car in the fence. So Jonathan Adams in the fence. Second for Jonathan Adams, gone. Now down in 25th, and there is significant damage on the right side of that car. Look at the damage there. Buckled up bodywork, and this car is suffering right now. Jonathan Adams qualified in an amazing spot, qualified second, but is wounded and just absolutely hurting at the moment, trying to get to that pit window, lap 34, and he may need to come in sooner if there's significant damage on that 91 car. He has dropped down to 29th and sinking. There goes Matthew Boone. There goes Richard Odie. Front of the field battle for second place. Caitlin Heights entered the mix, trying to find a way around Dustin Hall. Battling Hall, her teammate Susie, her other teammate Josh Gaiman, her other teammate David Smith Jr. There's a lot of Gibney Racing Division cars, as well as Zach Meredith and Mark Kissenweather. It's probably Kaisenweather. Now that I look at his last name, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I've just never had to interact with him, unfortunately. So if I am wrong, Mark, I apologize. Please correct me after the race. But Caitlin Height battling for second place alongside Dustin Hall. This three cars, second, third, and fourth right now, have had legendary battles throughout the years in HTL Cup competition. Battling for race wins and championships. This group now, this small little cluster now for 4 seasons. A little bit of contact between Susie and Hall. Susie drifted up the racetrack. Hall was there. Susie will maintain 4th spot ahead of his teammate, David Smith Jr. But all 4 of the main Gibney Racing Division cars, the Lady Liberty division of the group, right now, front and center at the top of the board. All of them in the top 6. Caitlin Height clear to second place and clear easily. Last lap of the stage. Hagan looking for those maximum stage points. Caitlin Height gonna look for 9 of them. Remember, top 10 score stage points once they cross the line to complete this lap. That's why we saw the ebb and flow so quickly change hands. Car in the fence, Kaisenweather. But they will cross the line. Tucker Sawyer will take the last point in stage 1, just ahead of Patrick Overstap. John Hagen front and center, and caution is out. Caution is out the end of the stage, and it is not the stage break, as we mentioned before, just super inconvenient for Alfred Denny. Started this race in 9th, and his race will come to a sudden stop. So let's take a second to look at what happened here. This is a little bit in the middle of everything. This is with Lily Sharp, and I think Zach Apperson is in this 3-wide situation as they roll through turns 1 and 2. That is Sharp in the 19. Apperson up top in the 4. Sharp's already tight, driving a little too deep. Denny's middle 3. Trying to hang in there. He knows Apperson's up top. See a little bit of latency for Elias Flores. What happens to Pelletier Sharp? Sharp a little bit skewed. Thought it might have been Apperson that tied the wall. Ratliff does. Unfortunately, that's not on Sharp. Looking at that final move was on Denny, moving down, trying to give one of his teammates space there. Hard impact in the safer barrier, though, in the inside lane. And that'll bring his day to a close. So Alfred Denny in the pit lane, and he will stay there for a little bit. Kalen Height, though, will use this caution to catapult to the front of the field here in Michigan. Ahead of Hagen, Gaiman, Smeal, and Meredith, your top 5 here. Under caution for the first time today from Michigan. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more action from the Michigan 400 on ABN. Underway here in Michigan International Speedway after a brief word from HTL Cup Series sponsor Team Conti Sim Performance. See the lap signal from the flagman 1 to green here at Michigan. Kalen Height, John Hagen, your race leaders. Josh Gaiman, David Smeal Jr., Zach Meredith, and Josh Susi, your top 6 at the moment as things sit. For those needing some help, either in the NASCAR iRacing Series or in the special events coming up here, the Coke 600, a big one at the end of the month, Team Conti Sim Performance has you hooked up for setups for that race in Charlotte in 3 weeks' time. They've also got you hooked up for the rest of the official series from the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series fields. Even the ARCA cars covered with driver development, coaching, and setups from one of the best in eNASCAR Coke Series history. Use the QR code or visit teamcontigg.com or teamconti.gg for more information. They'll sponsor us going green on this restart.
Green flag, green flag.
35 cars running in this field, make that 34 as we get back underway. Caitlin Height, clear of John Hagan. Had the best pace at the end of stage 1. Got up to second place, just did not have enough time to get ahead of Hagan before the stage came to a close. It is 3-on-1 between the Lady Liberty Motorsport cars. Make it 4-on-1 with Josh Susie in 5th still versus one Ascent Racing car of John Hagan. Going to make the argument here that Hagan was not the fastest Ascent Racing car. That would have been Jonathan Adams. But his tag of the wall and eventual retirement here has now left it once again on Hagan's shoulders. He's holding on to the race lead at the moment, but it is going to be an onslaught, a barrage of attempts to move Hagan out of the way from this race lead by both Height, Gaiman, Susie, and David Smoot Jr. in the 5th spot. Completing lap 36 of 125 after our first caution of the race on lap 30. A lot of action to come from here in Michigan. Now the teammates duking it out a little bit here. Josh Gaiman thinks he's got something for John Hagan. Josh Susie gets loose on the bottom lane there and will lose a spot to Kaisenweather. Kaisenweather up to 4th, Smeal down to 5th. Josh Susie down to 8th. Behind Dustin Hall and Zach Meredith. Cal Taub 9, Tucker Sawyer top 10. That's how he ended stage 1. Looking for some more points in stage number 2. Also some big movers coming on through the pit lane with Bichette Slotsworth and Blake Henderson, both of them just outside the top 10 as well, 11th and 12th respectively. They've gotten ahead of Lysa Hunter-Peach, Dale Markowski, Patrick Oberstadt. So a lot of shuffling in that mid-pack to get us underway here. Mike Kaisenweather, the biggest mover so far, up 28 spots from 32nd to 4th. A little side-by-side side drafting there between David Smeal Jr. and Dustin Hall just behind them. The Kaisenweather, the biggest mover so far. Biggest losses would belong to that of Jonathan Adams and Alfred Denny, are two basically retirements of the race. Adams officially out. Alfred Denny still on pit lane, hoping for a chance to get back on the racetrack and hope that there's more chaos later on in this race. Trends would say that that's not likely. Statement from Alfred Denny. He was trying to get someone space. He heard someone hit the wall, which would have been Tyler Ratliff, so he was right on that. Someone hit the wall, he could hear it. Try to give a little bit more space. Not happy with how tightly he was being held by Sharp. Trying to race for 19th with 90 laps to go, which is a fair argument. And it's not the first time we've seen that from Sharp. But Sharp's also not the only one that's raced that aggressively in the series. That's sort of just the name of the game in this next-gen car when the side draft is so strong in these cars. Gaiman really attacking John Hagan at the moment. Gets right to the quarter panel of the 97. But has to check up, and here comes the 12. Really loose for 12 of Kaisenweather. Current leader in the Rookie of the Year standings. He's trying to go for race win number 4. Hagen still looking for race win number 6. The overall record for the most wins in a season is 7, set by Josh Susi in season 4. So Kaisenweather and his Toyota will try to really threaten the other major Toyota team, Ascent Racing. It is Toyotas 1 and 2 before you get to a streak of Chevrolets. Justin Hall's Ford in the mix. The next closest Ford is 11th, Zach Meredith. And caution has come out. And I have a feeling I see where it's at. It's Dale Markowski. No, it's not Dale Markowski. This would be Hunter Peach. Second caution, and that's a lot of damage on the 20 car. Let's see what happens. Hunter Peach from 3rd to 33rd right now. He has not had a fun time. And here's why. He gets clipped by the 83 of Markowski. So Markowski was involved in it. Caution comes out and really damages that right front of the 20. 2 weeks in a row now, Peach has had really bad luck after having a really good start. Right on board here with Peach. He's going to have a pretty uninspiring ride. Turned by Markowski and smack. Doesn't look like much, but the suspension takes quite a beating in that circumstance. So he's got some work to do to get that car fixed under the second caution of the race here in Michigan. John Hagen leads the way after starting this race in 7th. Mark Kaisenweather from 32nd to 2nd. And then you have the 33 of Josh Gaiman and Caitlin Heights. Rounding out the top 4, everyone will come down pit lane for an extra set of tires and some Sunoco fuel. And while they do that, we'll step aside again for a quick break from the Michigan 400 here on ABN. Second caution of the day from Michigan International Speedway, the HTL Michigan 400. 3 races to go in the regular season. Top 5, bottom of your screen. Kyle Taub, Tucker Sawyer, Elias Flores, John Hagen, and Josh Arnold is how they line up right now. Very wild turn of events here for them. Everyone just cycling through here pretty wildly as everyone cycles around here. See them coming around to take the 1 to green signal. It's Taub, Sawyer, Flores, Hagen, Arnold, your top 5. Josh Gaiman in 6th. Be your first 3 rows on this restart. Team Conti Sim Performance. The QR code's at the top of your screen. If you're trying to prepare for the Coke 600 on iRacing here in 3 weeks, there's your place to grab premier setups from one of eNASCAR's greats, and Michael Conti. It's the official setup provider of the HTL Cup Series from Daytona all the way to the end of the season. And everywhere in between. Taub chose the outside lane for this restart. Militia Racing Club and Ascent Racing side by side, but it is not the top two that we were expecting. Pace car rolls down pit lane as we roll through the restart zone. Away we go, and Taub with an amazing jump on that restart gets us back underway with our second restart of the race. Hunter Peach 2 laps down following that contact with Dale Markowski. And I believe it is race over for Peach. So 3 retirements in this race alongside Alfred Denny and Jonathan Adams. Everyone else fanning out, battling, and on the lead lap. As Taub leads over Hagan, Sawyer, Gaiman, and Kalen Height. Battling back to the top 5 after a slower pit stop. Remember the window here, 34 to 38 laps. They last pit on lap 45. So they've got, realistically, until about 79, lap 80 before their next pit stop. This will get them beyond the stage 2 break. They're on lap 70. No cautions for that. They got to race through it. So Kalen Height putting herself in a really strong position still as things stand. Starting lap 50 at 125. And Kyle Taub trying to waltz away from John Hagan early on. Almost half a second clear of the 97. Sawyer keeping him honest though. Josh Gaiman and Kalen Height, teammates there, 4th and 5th. And it is a madhouse in that top 10. Josh Susi, middle 3. He gets passed by Josh Arnold while he was trying to get around his teammate, Kalen Height. Arnold to the outside lane with assistance from Dustin Hall. Mark Kaisenweather ahead of Davis Field Jr. rounds out your top 10. And you have Elias Flores in the mix as well. Remember, Flores qualified top 5, his best starting position ever on an oval in the HTL Cup Series. But he's been very quiet since then. Dropped back out of the top 10, out of the initial melee, and now making his way back forward. The Bay Area native from Oakland, California, up to 11th in that 99 Toyota. Little bit of contact between Patrick Overstat and Blake Henderson. A little bit of argy-bargy there between the 60 and the 25. And it will give the 60 car an extra spot. Henderson will drop 2 spots, actually. And we'll have to slot in behind Tyler Ratliff and ahead of Lily Sharp, the 2 NFG cars in that proximity. Just up the road, Bren Roberts in that number 8 machine. He's battling for 13. Car loose, Odie. Odie up to 13th place. A little bit out of position, and it shows a little bit on that Toyota. Struggling just a hair to keep pace with the race leaders. As they battle down into turn 3 and 4 here. Kyle Taub under pressure, and that is a lot of pressure. That's a lot of cars in that rear view mirror. If you're Kyle Taub, it is a bit stressful. Helmet cam on board, the number 16. You look at that digital mirror up in the right-hand corner. That's what he is seeing right now. It is busy behind him. Really good onboard shot. Toyota onboard. Tries to break the draft a little bit. Some champ car strategies. Something you'll see a lot later this season when ABN comes here for the Champ Car World Series this summer. Taub, race winner in that ABN Champ Car World Series, back on a road course though, Barber Motorsports Park. He's one of these guys that can kind of drive anything you put him in. Same with the guy behind him, John Hagan. He's pretty outstanding as well. He only got 5 wins this season. No biggie. Really fun to see how this all ramps up though. Staying in 5th gear all the way around. There's Kaisenweather as well, the number 12. 3 Toyotas. We've got onboard helmet cams for all of them. A little bit of contact through 3 and 4. Kaisenweather trying to get to the back bumper of his teammate and pushes him. Some good old bump drafting here down the front straightaway of Michigan. Hagan still on his own. He doesn't have the help of Sawyer yet. Doesn't have the help of Sasek or Flores. But they will get clear, and they've got help from Dustin Hall as well. Hagan goes from 1st to 4th. And here comes Gaiman. Really good stuff, though. Teamwork making the dream work at the front of the field. Taub and Kaisenweather. Remember, both of these cars in the top 12. Kaisenweather locked in. He is good. He cannot start Indianapolis or Daytona, and he'd still be top 12 in the points. Kyle Taub in the top 12, entered this race in the top 10, but not close to locking himself in. A great result here would help out tremendously, but here comes Dustin Hall, who is in must-win situation territory now. Our Pulsar back up to 2nd place. Battling with Kaisenweather for 2nd. Hagan 3rd, Sawyer 5th. Gaiman 6th, Swathworth 7th, Smeal 8th, Arnold 9th, Susie 10th. As Dustin Hall sweeps around the outside, gets around both of the Militia Racing Club cars to get back on point. And your Pulsar back to the front. Excellent work for Dustin Hall, who now has the unenviable task of holding off 2 teammates that have been lockstep the entire time since the 2nd restart on lap 47. He used up a lot of his tires in stage 1, didn't end up with a stage win, ended up losing a couple spots there. Coming to 11 to go in stage number 2. A bit of a better fight. For a repeated championship 4 contender. 11 laps to go in stage 2. Hagan down in 4th. It is a team fight all the way through. There's all four of the Militia Racing Club cars are in the top 10. Or they were. They're battling for the top 10 with Josh Arnold in 11th. Taub, Kaisenweather, Arnold, and Swatsworth are all in that group, a part of that team. You'll see a lot of them running very similar paint schemes as well. KT Graphics, part of the sponsorship group, supporting that team, giving the team a more unified appearance. But they are chasing down one of the GOATs of HTL Cup Series competition with Dustin Hall. He's also trying to break the draft here. 10 to go, coming to 9 laps to go in stage 2. These stage points will help tremendously. Look to the outside. Chad Swatsworth trying to drive like Superman to get around John Hagan. Did not get the momentum through 3 and 4, but had the speed. They are 2 by 3. 3 rows of 2. Behind your race leader. Kaisenweather trying to go for the race lead. And not quite. Taub with the slipstream gets to the bumper of Hall. Hall drives through the corner with the field in tow. Gaiman trying to get up to the top 4 as well, looking to the inside of John Hagan. 8 laps to go in 2. Taub tries to drive it to the inside of turns 1 and 2, drives in deep. Does he have the adhesion to make it stick over Dustin Hall? To answer that question, absolutely. To the point once again, Kyle Taub from Lockahashie, Florida. Arrived on the scene almost 3 years ago, actually over 3 years ago at this point. It was the 8-Pack Challenge. Arrived and won a preseason event at Kentucky Speedway. Put himself on the map. Was active in the Air Force. Didn't actually have a chance to race full-time until this season. And he is showing a bit as to why he's been a dark horse driver, hanging it out there right now with John Hagan, with Mark Kaisenweather, with Dustin Hall, with Josh Susi, Josh Gaiman, Chad Swatsworth, Kalen Height. He is in this mix well and truly at the moment. 6 laps to go in stage 2. And here comes David Smith Jr. who has lost more of these races than he'd like to count. He is trying to get to the race lead. Car is bouncing off the wall. Caution has come out. It is a bit further down the order because it is Elias Flores. No. The second ascent car was some serious damage, and that car is done. Off the heels of his best qualifying performance on an oval, he will not see the finish. 33rd for Elias Flores. And it's one of those drivers that were on the bubble, trying to get into the top 16. And if I'm not mistaken, this will end stage 2. So let's look at what happened to Elias Flores here. This is going to be heartbreaking. Got ourselves a spotter cam so we can get a full angle of what happened here. This is above the broadcast booth here at Michigan. And we'll actually back it up here and try to get a better angle. He was already kind of down in the running order. He was behind this battle with Bryn Robertson, Blake Henderson. This was really on the edge of the top 20. Does he get assistance from Apperson? I don't know if Apperson came up or if Flores came down. Flores ended up making his way down the hard way and into the wall with that right front, or that left front is completely fried. We'll grab our chopper camera. Maybe. Give it a second to see if we can get it back. So bear this for just a moment as we try to get everything back up and running here. There we go. Just a good old chopper camera. Oh, yeah, Henderson tagged the wall. Flores tried to bail out of it, and Alberson was there, right where the wall separates for the emergency crews. Very straightforward there. Played again slow motion here. You're going to see Henderson just overdrives just a little bit behind Bren Roberts. Skims the wall. Flores tries to bail out of it. And Apperson not able to react anywhere close to in time. Not super unsimilar to the Pelletier Sharp Alfred Denny situation. The only issue is that they weren't already 3 wide with that situation. Just a little bit of a checkup there, becoming a bigger issue with everyone having to react on a dime and Apperson not seeing anything that was going on. So, caution number 3 out here in Michigan, and it does end stage number 2. So we're going to rack them up and try again and see what we can do here in stage number 3. Eli Sasick, John Hagan, Kyle Taub, Dustin Hall, and Josh Gaiman. Your top 5 here in Michigan. Some more cars coming down pit lane. As they enter turns 1 and 2, you see a fantastic scenic shot here from Michigan International Speedway. People cheering on Dustin Hall as he chases his 8th career win. Sasick, Hagan, Taub, Dustin Hall, and Josh Gaiman, your top 5 here.
Green flag, green flag.
3rd restart of the race. Here we go. Finishes with a bit of a surprise from Elias Flores. Qualifying finishes with a bit of a surprise from Elias Flores. Qualifying finishes with a bit of a a surprise from Elias Flores. Bit of an impromptu crank it up, and it comes to an end right as I turn the mic. Second week in a row we've done that, where we've cranked it up and we've immediately had to go into caution. As soon as the microphone comes back on for us here, it's trouble throughout the field. This time it is Patrick Overstedt and Riley Garcia. 24 and the 60. So very unfortunate timing there, but here's what happened, and it looks like it is just a gaggle of cars here. Thompson, Oberstadt, Apperson, Garcia, Clavitt. This is just outside the top 10. We were riding over with Susie. He was right in the middle of this mess, and we pivoted away. A little bit of a pinging back and forth, and Garcia, ooh. That's unfortunate there for Garcia. You're going to see here, side by side, Apperson in the 4, Patrick Oberstadt in the 60. Just bouncing off each other pretty well all down the back straightaway out of turn 2. You're just going to see here, in slow motion, we'll play it here. Thompson on the outside lane. Oberstadt just side drafting just a little bit off the 4, and gets a little too happy with that. And it's bumper cars from there. Thompson all over the place. Netcode helps seal the job there. Definitely not netcode at that situation, though. Really good avoidance by the 62 of Dean Clavitt. Ratliff gets close. So does the 17 of Meredith. Meredith got really close. We'll see if we can get an onboard there from the 17. He had a wild view of that. And I have to see the huge hit there for Garcia and Oberstadt, which will set them all backwards. And let's get a look at that from the 17's onboard, because he had one of the coolest avoidances we've seen all season. That is hold your breath and just hope you make it through. And Zach Meredith did just that. Former champion for a reason. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Not so outstanding for Riley Garcia or for Patrick Oberstadt. Their races come to a screeching halt here at Michigan. 75 laps in. It's Kyle Taub and John Haig in front of the field here in Michigan. We're going to step aside for a quick ad break here. Don't go anywhere. More racing coming up here. Stage 3 underway in Michigan. Kyle Taub, John Hagan, front of the field for this 5th restart of the race. It's Mark Keisenweather and David Smith Jr. in row 2. Caitlin Height and Shad Swatsworth in row number 3 to get us back underway for our 5th restart of the race here in Michigan. Pace car is in, and the green flag flies. Away we go once again here in Michigan. Hagan with a clear getaway here at the front of the field. Teammates second and third. Once again, Keisenweather and Taub. Everyone with work to do. Starting lap 80 here in Michigan. Hagan and Keisenweather, this battle we've seen so many times this season, ramping up once again in the final stage of this race. Car in the fence, that was Sawyer, the 95. Sawyer trying to get into the top 5 here behind Swatsworth at the moment, just ahead of Braille. Ben Roberts, last week's race winner, up in the top 10 alongside Caitlin Height and Stephen Oberstadt. Single file almost through the entire top 10 at the moment as things stand. Not really much point in fuel saving here. Everyone came down pit lane last on lap 66. So there's still a solid pit stop to make in this race. And that pit stop will come around lap 100, thereabouts. Lap 100 is when that window really opens. So everyone's going to run this tank as dry as possible. So really there's no chance of fuel saving at this point. Everyone just pushing full bore because it's an even stop to get you to about 25 laps to go. Some cars did stop on 75. Dean Clavitt, Eli Sasek, Dustin Hall, Matthew Boone among those have stopped on lap 75. But even then, you still can't make it from there, so you've got a pit stop to go. Now you have a choice as to when you can make that pit stop, whereas those that pit on 66 have to go and run the tank dry. so a slight divergence on the strategy game. It's given us a very interesting top 10 at the moment. Bryn Roberts up in the top 10. He's an 8th at the moment. See if he can win 3 races in 8 days. Won Atlanta last Monday. Won the RX High Octane race at Charlotte on Saturday. And now looking for another race win here tonight. He's got some work to do and some really hungry drivers at the front of the field to try to beat. Car running really far down the racetrack, I believe. Trying to see who that was super far down the racetrack here. Almost like he got completely hooked. Not seeing who that was down the back straightaway. It's just the corner of my eye that I saw it happen. Sasek set the fastest lap of the race. So those on the pressure tires that pit on lap 75 have a shot. Front of the field, Kaisenweather to the outside lane. Quarter panel of Hagen. Coming to 40 laps to go. Hagen still leads here. Kaisenweather a bit of a latency spike as he tries the battle for this race lead. Calvin third, Swansworth in fourth. Davis Mule Jr. top 5 at the moment. Kaisenweather still the most spots gained from 32nd to 2nd. He's trying to go for the race lead at the moment as things sit. Roberts holding on to the 8th spot in car 8 ahead of Sawyer and Josh Gaiman. Side by side just behind Steven Oberstadt in that 38. Wasn't supposed to be in the field tonight, but filling in emergency sub for Ross Baxter, who is normally in that 38. Gaiman gets loose out of 2. Ahead of the 47 of Hunter Whitlock, that Tide machine, making his way forward. Seriously struggling just a little bit right now, down in the 13th position. And it's Bailey Thompson and Lily Sharp in the top 15. Teammates 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, all for Militia Racing Club. Kaisenweather, Swansworth, and Taub trying to hold off and fend off David Mule Jr. Taub gave up the outside lane to Smeal. Very bold strategy there, but it's effective. Stays ahead of the 31 out of turn 4. Car up near the fence that we saw in the background, that was Sharp. Trying to get around her teammate Ratliff and Eli Sasek. Car in the fence, that's Meredith. Zach Meredith in the fence, and he's going to loosen spots. Pushing just a little bit too hard. Pit window opens next lap. For those trying to make it on this last stop, your earliest opportunity is next lap. We're at 35 laps to go. Kaisenweather, Hagen, Swatsworth, Smeal, and Taub, your top five. Hagen gets a really nasty shot from Kaisenweather. Side by side into 3 and 4. And Hagen held on to the race lead somehow, some way. Everyone knows that showtime is picking up here in Michigan. Hagen, Kaisenweather, Smeal, Swatsworth, Caitlin Height, and Kyle Taub. Oh! Taub goes for a bit of a wild ride, and he's going to lose some spots too. Sorry, that was the 18 of Swatsworth. My apologies. Different car. Very similar. You can see them side by side there, but it was Swatsworth that was shot below the white line on the back straightaway. Caitlin Height surging forward. She's got the long run car. Is 25 laps long enough for Caitlin Height to try to get her third win here at Michigan? Again, respecting the pit stops to seriously begin in force about lap 100. Coming to about 25 laps to go. But the window is open now. If anyone wants to come in and take pit stops early, they can. One car has James Wright rolling through pit lane now, but he was not a factor in the melee we've seen all race long. No one at the front of the field has come down pit lane yet. Dustin Hall, among those that pit on lap 75, he is the furthest forward in 13th. Battling side by side into turns 1 and 2. Teammates fighting. Caitlin Height trying to get around David Smeal Jr. while also trying to hold off Chad Swatsworth and Kyle Taub side by side for third out of turn 2. And Height's going to be left out to dry. Trying again in 3 and 4. Caitlin Height will slot in the 6th spot at the moment, but pit stops, they are coming through. I think the concern with Caitlin Height is that her car wakes up too late into the run when we only have 25 laps to go. Caitlin Height's just not going to have what she needs at that point, I don't think, to challenge for this race lead. She needs a shorter run car, and I don't know if she's got that. However, she's been successful here. The defending race winner, she's won here twice. Some cars coming in further down the order. Sharp and Ratliff, teammates for NFG. They're down pit lane a few laps early. Not a bad call. Beat the traffic. Might gain them some spots and get them closer to the top 10. Everyone else trying to find some real estate here. Height still battling with Taub and Swatsworth. No one in the top 10 comes in this time. No one in the top 20 comes in this time. see the NSG cars coming out of pit lane. That's what you lose. You lose quite basically a full lap here. Under pit stops here as Height slides in front of Taub and gets clear. Trying to tag along with Swansworth's. Taub a little bit tight. Height will drive around on the outside lane and secure 5th place. Josh Gaiman trying to now do the same on the inside lane. As we start lap 99, 27 laps to go here in Michigan. Still anyone's guess how this race turns out here in the Great Lakes State. John Hagan has led the most laps so far today. Of the laps led, he's led 57 of them. He's led over half the laps completed. Dustin Hall, the number 1 car, has led 25. For comparison's sake, Cal Taub, the other major leader, 12 laps led for him. As Bren Roberts comes down pit lane. And Roberts will not be the only one. Here comes, actually he is the only one that time around. Hunter Whitlock coming out of pit lane. He had pit lap 4. So do they all come down pit lane this time? How many of them come down this time? This would be lap 34 of their run. It is Hagan, Kaisenweather, and Smeal. Front and center at the top of the board. Caitlin Height on that yellow line. She does come in, as does David Smeal Jr. So the teammates come in. And pit stops en masse beginning on cue to end lap 100. 25 laps to go. And remember, keep an eye on drivers like Dustin Hall, like Josh Arnold, Matthew Boone, Eli Sasek. They will stay out 9 laps longer, or up to 9 laps longer. They might come in sooner. And in comes your race leader. It'll give Shad Swatsworth the race lead over Dustin Hall. And Bailey Thompson ends up 3rd in this exchange at the moment. A little bit further down the order, those on fresher tires, Sharp and Ratliff, trying to make their way around the race leaders and get their lap back. Swatsworth, I think, coming down pit lane this time by. And it will hand the lead over to Dustin Hall. And indeed, Swatsworth does come down pit lane. So the 18 pulls down pit lane, and it leaves those that pit on lap 75 for the most part in the running. Bailey Thompson also pit on lap 66, staying out the longest. Hoping for a caution because Thompson has not had the pace to be a top 10 car tonight. So Thompson needs all the help in the world. Everyone else trying to out-strategize those that just came down pit lane. How far can Dustin Hall go? It's a long way to try to get to lap 125. I don't think it's feasible for the one crew or anyone else that has yet to come down pit lane. Sasek has actually come down early, so he pit on lap 75, and he has abandoned that overcut strategy pretty quickly. That leaves 9 cars that have yet to come down pit lane from Hall to Santiago. And Hall is on an island. Further down the order, this is Caitlin Height in 16th place, trying to chase down Mark Kaisenweather, who's also trying to chase down Josh Susi. And Caitlin Height just set the fastest lap of the race at 39.52 mile-an-hour lap. Fastest lap of the race. Josh Susi jumped ahead with a 2-tire stop. So did Bren Roberts and David Smeal Jr. 2-tire stops for them and John Hagan. 4 tire stops for Kaisenweather and Height. So keep an eye on that. Josh Arnold comes down pit lane. Big time stuff here. For Hall, for Boone, for Clavett. Pit stops, they are coming soon. They will not be able to go all the way. How far can they go? That is the magical question. Steven Overstat, new fastest lap, 39.47 for car 38. So the Camaros now with a lot of heat. Barreling towards the front of the field. But what can you do with 20 laps to go? Thompson finally in. Justin Hall continues to lead. Austin Mongold also in pit lane. So the top 5 now yet to make a pit stop. Angel Santiago would make that the top 6 once everything cycles through here. But Santiago also in danger of getting passed by Hagan on the road now. Because there's Santiago just up the road in the 90. Here's this group trying to chase down John Hagan. A lot of them on 2 tires. Kaisenweather, 4 tire stop there for Kaisenweather. Also on 4 tires and just took the fastest lap away at 39.39 for the 12. And he's in this group. He's right there in that 11th spot, working his way around David Smeal Jr. because the clock is ticking. Smeal chops the 12's nose off there, and Kaisenweather having to work his way around the long way. As they approach the 90 of Santiago, who will not challenge this group at all. Susie a little loose. Bren Roberts on his tail. Their objective, catch John Hagan and prevent race win number 6. He's got a 2-second advantage, though. That is hard to beat. However, between John Hagan and his 26.5 seconds, the gap to Dustin Hall. And Hall is going to come down pit lane this time. So he has run the extent of what he can do. Matthew Boone will inherit the race lead for the first time today. Opening the show, we talked about how Boone had the race record at this track from his championship season in season 2. He's never won here, and it would not appear likely that he'll be able to change that fortune today on this strategy call. Car behind him is the 83 of Dale Markowski, who was a lap down, trying to get his lap back here, and he will do so over the next couple laps. Clavett in second, Blake Henderson also on this alternate strategy in third. Ahead of Zach Apperson, who just came down pit lane, so that moves John Hagan back up into 4th. And I would have to surmise that all 3 of these cars hoping for a caution to come out at some point over the next 3 or 4 laps. Anderson, you can see Clavett just up the road. There's Callie Height, also a lap down, battling with James Wright. They have all the real estate in the world to try to save fuel here. It's a matter of how much can you save, and is it worth it to try to save that fuel to avoid that pit stop? I don't think you can save enough. But obviously I was not the one renowned for my fuel saving excellence in the series. So if they're better than me, they're going to show it. Clavitt in, as is Boone. So Henderson will lead a lap here. 13 laps to go. And the gap is shrinking down to John Hagan. 17.5 seconds the gap, and it is closing. Remember, Henderson came in the top 12, just barely. He was 11th in points going in. Looks like he thought about coming in there. He's saving fuel hardcore here. 41.2 last time around. This time around 41.9. He is saving fuel in bunches, just trying to get to the end of this race here. 12 laps to go. He's trying to pull off a miracle here that I've not seen happen before. Richard Odie behind him. He'll try to draft off him a little bit when he gets to him. John Hagan, he is on an island as well, but he is good on fuel. And Henderson comes in, he can't make it. He'll hand the lead off to John Hagan with 11 laps to go. And Caitlin Height now up into the second spot. 4 tires and now fresh air to try to reel in John Hagan. Josh Susie and Davis Meal Jr. 3rd and 4th as well. So Lady Liberty Motorsports trying everything they can now to catch up to Hagan. Do they have enough time with 11 laps to go to shave in 2 1/4 seconds? That is the magical question that goes on right now. Caitlin Height has the 4 tires. If anyone's gonna be able to stop Hagan on those 2 tires, it will be Height. Gap closing in, but I just don't think it's going to be quite enough for Height here. It needs to close in a little bit more. You can see the distance there as Hagan left the screen. Hagan just trying to outrun the teammates here. The teammates trying to work together. They're not super organized in that, though. Remember, Height on those 4 tires. Spiel and Susie on 2. They don't have the same grip level to keep up with 3. And that makes the exit of these corners a little bit more difficult. Ren Roberts in the top 5, ahead of Tucker Sawyer. Josh Gaiman a little bit further back in 6th. Braille, Kaisenweather, and Overstat your top 10. Just kind of wait and see if they can do anything at all. And it looks like they're just losing a little bit more time to Hagan at the front of the field. Kaisenweather battling with Braille, trying to get around for that 8th spot. And we have that tandem further back between Oberstadt and Kyle Taub. So not bad for a super sub, Stephen Oberstadt, replacing Ross Baxter, and right now looking to battle for a top 10. Try to hold on here. Likewise, Zach Meredith battling with Dustin Hall, the pole sitter, who is going to be regretting just not having the strategy call right for this one. Was hoping it would pan out going long and having that overcut. It did not pan out at all. And it looks like as this race begins to enter those dying laps that a top 10 will also not be feasible. There was a fright there for Kaisenweather. The 12 almost completely dropped out of this race with a technical issue. Back on the racetrack, though, but it was a scary moment. Oberstadt up to 9th as a result. and trying to get around Jeremy Braille for that 8th spot, and does so. Really good move by Oberstadt to move up the racetrack. Six laps to go. Hagan up front by about 2.6, almost 2.7 seconds. Unless something happens late in this race, that is game, set, match for Hagan's 6th win of the season. Caitlin Height in the 2nd spot, trying to hold on for teammates there at the front of the field for 2nd place once again. And once again, it'd be Josh Susie in 3rd, as it was in Atlanta. Bunch of cars in the mix here at the very edge of the top 10. Swathworth gets around Braille for 10th. And here comes Josh Arnold for 11th, and it looks like Dustin Hall for 12th. The Militia Racing Club cars really just ruining the day, and the caution's out. Caution is out, and it is for Lily Sharp. And that changes everything. Oh my goodness. Caution has come out for the 6th time today for Lily Sharp, who is in 27th on the lead lap, importantly. But a huge issue for the 19 car. And here's what happened. Oh, just gets turned by Hunter Whitlock, the 47. That looks like a bunch of side drafting gone terribly, terribly wrong. Get our good old chopper cam going. Yeah, that's not netcode. That's Whitlock trying too hard to side draft and just hooking the 19 to the inside. LTA Sharp does a really good job of keeping that in the grass, not in any of the walls, because that can go bad in a hurry. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Cars come down pit lane. It is not universal, though. Josh Susie, David Smeal Jr., Josh Gaiman, Dustin Hall, Bailey Thompson, Matthew Boone, Dean Clavitt, Zach Apperson, and Blake Henderson. Your top 9 all stay out. Oh, my goodness. 2 tire stops for just about everybody in the field. In that exchange, 4 tires further on back. They do not have enough time on this single overtime restart to try to get this going with those 4 tires to get them all fired up. 2 tires, I think, is the play here. Or if you're someone like Josh Susie, trying to win for the first time this season, staying out knowing you have 5 rows of buffer, not a bad call. Not a bad call in the slightest. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. There's your top 5. We are going to see an overtime restart here, I do believe. I would be surprised if we don't. Let's see, the lights on the pace car will give us that indication. If they go out, we have 2 laps to go under green, under regulation. And that's what the field is indicating, is that we're looking at 2 to go, and we are. We're looking at nope. I misread that. We do have an overtime restart. First overtime attempt at a 3 will be underway. It's after lap 123, so we're now on lap 124. So false alarm, we are in overtime. We'll have one more chance to do this. to shout out Team Conti Center Performance, the QR code on your screen. If you're preparing for NASCAR iRacing Series races or races in the trucks, Xfinity, ARCA, Cup Series cars, or if you're getting ready for the special event, the Coke 600 at the end of the month, Memorial Day weekend, Team Conti can get you hooked up. Setups, driver development, coaching, and more available by visiting the QR code on your screen or teamconti.gg. So first attempt at an overtime restart. We got 3 for the night if we need them. This could get hectic. The top 9 on older tires. 2 tires for Hagan, for Height, for Sawyer, for Taub, for Swansworth, for Arnold, and for Roberts. 4 tires further on back in the field. This is where the money is made. The pace car is in. Susie and Smeal, teammates, lead us to green. We're underway, overtime at Michigan. And Susie with the rocket start. Same with Josh Gaiman and Bailey Thompson. We have to see the white flag for this race to be official. Can we get the 1 to go signal? That is the important question. 6 cautions so far in the night's race. Car in the fence, that's Ratliff. We stay green. Teammates first and second. But we gotta get through 3 and 4, and we gotta take the white flag. Susie finished 3rd a week ago. Is the caution gonna come out? White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go, presented by Henderson Graphics. Susie trying to hold off the field. Dustin Hall, outside lane, up near the fence, looking for a chance at a race win. So is Bailey Thompson. Down the back straightaway for the final time. Thompson to the front. Susie drives it in deep. Gets a shove from Thompson, 4 wide. Around goes Gavin, around goes Henderson. They crash behind, and they crash again. Susie wins at Michigan, and they all wreck behind. Clavin in second, Hall in third, and good luck figuring it out from there. Josh Susie finally breaks a winless streak and wins at Michigan. The winless streak is over, and the defending 2-time champ will return to victory lane in the Great Lakes State. Josh Susie, an outstanding run for the 81 crew. Had a fast car all night, just was not a front-running car. Caitlin Height's car comes to a grinding halt there at the start-finish line. Reason to celebrate for Dean Clavitt. 2nd place for him out of nowhere. As Susie begins to spoil his victory lap, Davis Neal celebrating losing 6 spots in the last lap. But a well-earned celebration for Josh Susie, the defending champion, back in victory lane. Polish victory lap for Josh Susie. A wild result. Going into this race, this is what his stats looked like. He had 11 wins, 4 poles. In his 60th start, he gets win number 12. had Clavitt and Dustin Hall, who does get that good finish he was looking for. Slid around sideways, was sideways across the line, but will be credited with that third place finish. Bailey Thompson, great finish for Bailey, even though getting turned practically twice on that last lap. Ends up in fourth. Hunter Whitlock, a good result for him in fifth. Smeal in sixth. Swatsworth seventh. Sawyer eighth. Callie Hyde, a top 10 for her out of nowhere in ninth. And Bren Roberts, last week's winner, in 10th, rounds out your top 10 in this field. Beyond that, it is an absolute madhouse with all the crashes that happened out of turn 4. So we got to the white flag, only one overtime restart needed, and Josh Susie made sure that he made it count for his 12th win of the season here, this time in Michigan. His first time winning at Michigan. So we will go ahead and we will talk to our race winner as he parks in victory lane. A fantastic job for our two-time defending champion, Josh Susie. Career win number 12 in the HTL Cup Series and a wild finish to boot. Josh, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
That was a wild drive. Obviously, a lot going on that last lap, but the team makes out like bandits, and your winless streak is over, finally on the winner's board here in Season 6. Walk us through it, because that looked intense.
Well, you're not going to win the race if you don't take big swings, and I gave one away to Bailey in a truck race last year, and I learned from my mistake, and I wasn't letting that happen again.
Obviously, this was a wild race start to finish. We had a little bit of everything. We had green flag pit stops. It seems like the team just overall looked pretty strong. Obviously, you had Gaiman, you had Katie, who's won here twice. You had yourself, you had Smeal. Callie Height ended up top 10 here. Dean Clavitt ended up second place with you on the podium. This track just seems to be very strong for the team. What is it about Michigan that just makes this such a good track overall for all those Chevrolets?
To be honest with you, I'm not really sure. I absolutely hate running here, especially with this Cup car. We just try to prioritize working together when we can and saving tire and, trying to put yourself in the correct position to do something. I know that one pit stop I messed up, I think at the end of stage 2, I shuffled back to like 14th, and when you're back there in the hornet's nest, you just can't do anything. So, you got to qualify good and do what you can to stay up front and take care of the tires.
It almost didn't end up that way for the 81 camp. You were close to a couple near misses. You say you don't really like this track, but success found you here tonight, and it was very needed as far as building momentum to end up this regular season. Indianapolis, the Brickyard, coming up next. It's a track that is also polarizing for very different reasons. With this race win now sort of on your shoulder, Indianapolis, is that a track you're looking forward to more, or is it a little bit more of the same of see what you can pull out of it, out of a track that may not suit you?
I love the track. I hate this package and the wake, just like in real life. It's all about track position, and we're running new setups this year that are not tailored anywhere near to what I'm comfortable with. So that's been a struggle. When people figure out how to plan it on the right rear and save the right front better than others, and then you get to a certain burn point in the run that even if you're faster, you can't do anything with just the aero block, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So it's going to be all about track position next week. It's a single groove track, really. Yeah, we're going to have the big drafts on the straightaway, but you'll see someone take care of their stuff and then get to the lead and then just start checking out, like Hagan was doing tonight, solo, and we had 3 cars, 4 cars all together trying to draft up, and we weren't even making time. It's absolutely ludicrous. That's just a cup package thing, it is what it is.
Well, it worked out for you here tonight. Chaos providing an opportunity. We always say luck's the intersection of talent and opportunity here tonight. We know you have the talent, 2-time defending champion, and once again, a race winner here, your 12th career win in the HTL Cup Series with 2 races to go until the playoffs. The 81 car looking pretty safe in that 16-car playoff grid. Before we let you go and let you celebrate your race win and get ready for the Brickyard next Monday, if there's anyone who want to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. We'll talk to some of your teammates here with Dean up next, but obviously a huge team effort there for everyone in the GRD.
Yeah, first and foremost, as always, Nitro Setup Shops, best setups on the sim, so go get you some. And, I just want to take after my idol on the car, and, I'm not going to give the people what they want. I'm going to do everything I can to leave here the 3-time real last defending champion. And we're going to take these last 3 years' history with me and let HTL start over. And what they do with it, it's up to them. But all the last 3 years I'm taking with me out the door in my squad, and we'll not look back and see what shakes down somewhere else.
A phenomenal job. Career win number 12 in the series for Josh Susie, going for championship number 3 here this season. Josh, enjoy the race win, and we'll see you at the Brickyard next Monday.
10-4, thank you.
Outstanding work for Josh Susie, winner tonight. A little bit of a spoof for those not in on the wrestling lore. That's a spoof off of the John Cena storyline in WWE right now. So great shout out there. Great Easter egg for Josh Susie on that one. We will move on to second place. His teammates, a super sub for most of the season, but an outstanding drive for Dean Clavitt. The 62 Uncharted car ends up on the podium, a car that was nowhere most the first half of this race, crawling your way forward and capitalizing on chaos in the best way. Dean, second place. What do you make of that finish?
It was wild. That's pretty much all it was. Just wild. Had 2 tires and decided to stay out, and the top didn't have a good start. So I was like, okay, well, I'm in decent position here, and it stuck for the most part on the 2 to go, and everybody died behind me. So really, I thank Hagen for wrecking. Well, not really wrecking, but like Hagen. Who was it? Hagen, Boone. I give shout outs here because credits deserved. Yeah, let's see, Hagen, Apperson, Boone, all of them, for wrecking. So, and then the last lap, I got loose in turn 3, and I kind of feel bad. I kind of hit Gaiman. Obviously, no harm there, no harm intended there, but it is what it is. Yeah, so I feel bad. Sorry, Gaiman. I know if you're watching. And Dustin decided just to chop everybody's nose off going to the line, and thankfully just hit me enough that angle where it hit Bailey into me and came across second.
So all 3 of you were sideways across the finish line, but it works out in your favor here. A phenomenal effort for you. Being super sub, you had a chance to drive a bunch of different cars, working with that GRD group, and how important today was for them for those cars in the top 10. Being a part of that effort, what was the difference for you here? Obviously, the strategy helps out. That 62 car, though, started off really slowly. Was it something that you adjusted to as the race went on, or was it just something that clicked?
No, I mean, it was just right in the bottom, really, right in the yellow line. Nobody else was running it, so I was like, screw it, I'll do it. And made it work in the first stage, and halfway through the second, it started to go away a little bit. But then the last stage, it really went away. And then old Zachary Meredith decided to be something and hit my bumper a couple times and kind of got me up the track a little bit. So it's all good. It is what it is. But yeah, I finished better than him, so that's all that matters.
Absolutely. A P2 finish going into the Brickyard here for you, Dean. Obviously, you're one of the drivers, obviously running super sub. You've had a lot of different rides, but you are in the conversation to try to get into the wild card positions in for this chase for the HTL playoffs. This race helps you out a lot. Indianapolis next week. Is Indianapolis a track you're looking forward to a little bit more? And is it something that there's a little bit more control for you going into the Brickyard in 7 days?
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to the Brickyard. I mean, it's always fun to go there. Obviously, the setup's going to be a little bit of a wild card because obviously it's going to be a different setup than what's usually default and all that. So it is what it is. But no, it should be fun. Anyways, like I said, just go there and hopefully gain some more points on whoever I have to face. I just gotta say, shout out my wife. It's her birthday tonight, so happy birthday to her. We celebrated a little bit before, with some cake and some Blackstone fried rice, so it was pretty good. And like I say, gotta thank Hunter Whitlock for causing the last caution to get up there. Like again, gotta thank Hagen, Boone, Ampersand, all of them, for causing that wreck in the last lap or with 2 to go. It was good, and like I said, just fun race overall. It was good racing, especially with Josh Arnold. I had a good run with him. He's fun to race with.
Yeah, absolutely a fantastic job here for Dean Clavitt tonight. Second place here at Michigan. We'll see him again at the Brickyard in 7 days' time. Dean, enjoy the podium. Congrats on the anniversary for both you and your wife, and we'll see you at the Brickyard next Monday.
Thank you much.
That was Dean Clavitt, our second place finisher here tonight. We'll move on to Dustin Hall, who ends up in the most random of ways getting back to the podium. It didn't seem possible at one point. That one car just seemed sort of out in the middle of nowhere. And then, lo and behold, chaos reigns supreme on overtime restarts, and Dustin from pole position, you end up somehow back on the podium. Walk us through it, because that was a roller coaster the last 25 laps.
Yeah. I think that was a really exciting race, and I hope your viewers enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun from the seat, and like I say, hope it was a lot of fun on screen.
You had a really good run to kick off the start of this race. You led the first 25 laps largely undisputed in this race, and then things sort of fell apart. Walk us through sort of what the issue was with that one car tonight, because it had a lot of early run pace, and that showed tonight, but it seemed like the long run pace was just slightly off. What was going up with that number 1 Ford?
Heavy right foot. That about sums it up. That first run, while I had clean air, I wanted to see how long where the fall off would eclipse the tire wear, would eclipse the rest of the pack. I figured I could still maintain position because it's hard to clear a pass on the bottom when the train's against the wall. So I figured I could still maintain stage points, and I think we ended up with third or fourth, I think, in the stage. But I really wanted to find out most of all how long you could drive the heck out of it without it really falling off long run, and learned that. And then from then on, it did it again a little bit after that first caution, but I tried it in different lines. I ran mostly the top in that second run. Again, trying to find out, okay, is this wearing tire more? Is the bottom wearing tire more? Where can I make moves? Where can I generate runs? Basically, it was all research at that point. Had a lot of fun battling with a lot of strong competitors through those laps, and yeah, that's basically it. Though that's what I was trying to do, was just do a little homework. I didn't have any time to get any practice. I made it to the session about 10 laps before qualifying. Had my son's baseball game. By the way, at Carmen, my son's baseball team won region, so congrats to the West Jordan Jaguars.
Absolutely a fantastic job for them winning tonight as well. And you came home, pole position, your 15th career pole, and another podium to add to your tally. Obviously, points a very needed commodity here for you in your effort to try to make the playoffs this season. You entered 24th. You gained a healthy serving of those points tonight. The chaos obviously helps out there a lot. We go to a track that spawns chaos very similarly with the Brickyard next Monday. Is the Brickyard a place to try to continue this momentum? Obviously, a lot of stuff kind of falling your way tonight. Is the Brickyard a place you're looking forward to try to continue building this run to the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. Indy is one of my best tracks. It'll depend on the setup. If it's one that kind of sits on the right rear, it will intimidate a lot a lot of people. If it's one that just generates tight, then there'll be a lot of people running their right front off of their car. So, yeah, Indy is a very good track. I'm excited for that. Should be a lot of fun. We do have a lot of points to make up. A win would have been really nice tonight. I kind of screwed it up with that early pit call after, I don't know, whatever it was, a 9-lap run early in the race, but I think we made up for that by not pitting that last stop. But yeah, the Indy is going to be great. It'll be fun. It generates a little bit of separation usually once tires wear. The draft keeps things tight and makes things a little tough to pass if you do leave the strong lane or the lane with the numbers. But it does, if we can get some green flag racing, I think it should be a pretty good race for the 1 Ford.
It was a phenomenal effort for the 1 Ford tonight. Pole position, crawling back to get on the podium here tonight. A really good haul of points for the 1 team. Before we let you go and let you get ready for Indianapolis in 7 days, if there's anyone you want to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Again, a phenomenal effort. Just rebounding to get third is one thing. Being able to do so sideways, 3 wide, is a completely different one.
Yeah. Thank you guys for broadcasting. Thanks to the league, HTL, Blake, Alfred, all the work they put into it. Family and friends for watching and supporting Team Conti and Team Conti Sim Performance for all that they do, both for me being, a member of the team and also for what they're doing for the league and in bringing sponsorship and setups to the league. That's about it. Oh, and thanks to Lady Liberty tonight. And I want to share my Venmo with them for my services tonight of showing them where the track limits were at it too. That track limit being my left rear.
A little bit of gamesmanship there. Obviously, a fantastic effort for Dustin Hall here at Indy. Obviously, we're hoping for more success, hopefully more conversations like this over the next few races. Indianapolis up next, Dustin. Enjoy the week until then, and hopefully we get to talk to you even more and have even more to talk about at the Brickyard.
I'll come up with something.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you so much, Dustin.
Yeah.
That was Dustin Hall. 3rd place finish tonight, pole sitter tonight as well, with several laps led, over 30 laps led for the number 1 crew. Absolutely fantastic for all of them involved. So let's go ahead and go through the running order here at the end of this race. This will be slightly inaccurate because of Louis Pelletier Sharp receiving a penalty that is being appealed, receiving a penalty for incident point limits. But that shouldn't affect those in the top 12. Josh Susie, Dean Clavitt, Dustin Hall, your podium. We talked to all 3 of them. Bailey Thompson in 4th. Again, part of that wild finish. Ends up in 4th place. Still a great result for the Unforgiven Motorsports Ford. Hunter Whitlock in 5th. David Smith Jr. in 6th. Swatsworth 7th. Sawyer, Callie Height, and Bren Roberts rounds out your top 10. For Callie Height, first top 10 on an oval this season. So a great effort for the British driver. Stephen Oberstadt, Eli Sasek, just outside the top 10, 11th and 12th for them. Lily Sharp in 13th place. I believe this is accurate for where Sharp actually finished this race. So 13th for Sharp will be how that rounds out. Ahead of Zach Meredith, Dale Markowski, Richard Odie, James Wright in 17th, Austin Mongold, Blake Henderson getting turned on the last lap in turn 4. Ends up having to settle for 19th place. Mark Keisenweather for 20th place there ahead of Matthew Boone, Angel Santiago, Josh Gaiman, and John Hagan round out the top 24. And again, just a wild way for this race to turn around here in Michigan on those final 2 laps. Jeremy Braille in 25th, Zach Apperson, Kyle Taub, Caitlin Height in 28th. We had 30 cars on the lead lap. Josh Arnold, Tyler Ratliff, of those 30 cars. If you got to the end of the race, you finished on the lead lap. 6 cars didn't. Patrick Oberstadt, Riley Garcia, Elias Flores, Hunter Peach, Alfred Denny, and Jonathan Adams, your retirements here in Michigan. More racing where that comes from next week. It is the BFL 400 at the Brickyard at Indianapolis, and then the Coulter's Cards 400 at Daytona on May 19th rounds out the regular season. here in the HTL Cup Series season. On Wednesday, the ABN Champ Car World Series here on Twitch, 8 p.m. The Brickyard Grand Prix. It is all Indianapolis all the time here on ABN the next few days. We hope you join us there Wednesday, 8 p.m. right here on Twitch. On behalf of everyone here for HTL Cup Series competition, HTL Esports, Team Conti, Sim Performance, and everyone here at ABN Studios, thank you for joining us here tonight for a wild night of racing. We'll see you again at the Brickyard on Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, have some fun this week. We'll see you next time.